Here we go then. Welcome along once again to the Breakdown Live here at the Emirates Stadium. It feels good to be back home, I'm not going to lie. And pitch side with Adrian Clarke as today we take on Sheffield United. Feels like ages since I've done a home game with you, Clarke.
Yeah, it is ages.
Yeah.
But it's lovely, isn't it? Nice to be here on a Saturday, 3 o'clock kickoff. Pitch is looking absolutely sweet behind me. And look, we're going to discuss it very, very shortly, but a nice, refreshed look about the team as well today.
Yeah, we kind of spoke about it, didn't we, after the Sevilla game, that there could be changes tonight because of what happened with Gabriel Jesus, and there are changes. Yeah,
there are a number of changes, and I always felt that this was a game we could afford to rest players in. I know we got West Ham in the Carabao Cup coming up, but yeah, this is it was a tiring, energy-sapping trip to Seville, wasn't it? That pitch was heavy, and I just felt that one or two players maybe needed a rest today, and that's what they're getting. Yeah, well, let's go through it then. As Clarke has alluded to already, there's a number of changes. Not in goal, though. David Raya continues between the sticks, and then we've got Wright, Vieira, Saliba and Zinchenko at the back. Then Declan Rice continues in the middle of the park, but then Emile Smith-Rowe gets what feels like the first start in ages. And then Kai Havertz, Bukayo Saka, who wears the armband today, Gabriel Martinelli and Eddie Nketiah completes the lineup. So let's start with Smith-Rowe, Clarke. I mean, he's been champing at the bit for a start for a long time, and he's got one. Yeah, exactly. He's got to take the opportunity, hasn't he? It's as simple as that. We love Emile Smith-Rowe. He's such a popular figure here. We all want him to succeed, and he's got the ability to succeed. But it's hard when you've had such little match practice to just be dropped in and to be dynamite. But that's the challenge he faces today, and hopefully he'll shine. He's in for Martin Odegaard. I don't think that's the main reason he doesn't play that often, because the skipper, the captain of the team, who pretty much plays every week, is the guy in his position. So he's got a chance to just prove what an excellent understudy he is today. Yeah, Vieira in as well at the back. So Gabriel on the bench, so it feels like he's getting a bit of a rest. And we know what Vieira can do. Well, yeah, he did really well at the start of the season. Much improved player, and he can play he can really cover off that left side when Zinchenko goes into midfield. I see Vieira as their left back / left centre half, so he'll play in between those two roles. I think today is a day where you can rotate a centre back, because we don't like breaking up Gabriel and Saliba, but I think today we can get away with it. And just a word on Bukayo Saka getting the armband. Yeah, we almost got interrupted there, just in the nick of time. I'm pleased for him. He's earned it, hasn't he? I mean, he's part of the leadership group now, Bukayo Saka. I mean, anyone that's been watching Arsenal for the last few years, forget the age, who are the leaders in the team? Well, Bukayo Saka is one of the leaders in the team, no doubt about that. And what a figurehead to stand at the top of the line. If you're Sheffield United and you're standing there in the tunnel and you're looking across, it's Bukayo Saka leading the team out. I think that's quite a statement. Yeah, I mean, a weird coincidence, but a few years back I went to Seville just on holiday, and Bukayo Saka was starting in the Europa League, and it was like such a big deal that he was starting in the Europa League. The week we play Seville here, he's taken the armband for the first team in the Premier League. Yeah, unbelievable. Right, anyway, there's more to discuss, but we'll do that when we get up to the My Arsenal Rewards box. But you know how at this point on the show, we love to introduce you to some of our international fans. We've had people from all over the world on, and that continues today. We've got Arsenal Japan in the house, so let's bring them in. Come on in, come on in. Hello. Lovely to see you, lovely to see you. I've got no spare hands. I would shake your hand. And who do we have here then?
Mika Campbell from Arsenal Japan.
It's Mika Takeuchi from Arsenal.
So two Mikas. So easy for us to remember. Brilliant. So, right, tell us about Arsenal Japan. How long have you guys been operating for?
We've been running for 21 years, and we wanted to arrange 20th anniversary organized tour last year. Yes. But because COVID, restriction was quite tight in Japan, so we managed just this year, so 21st.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. Yeah, and what sort of trip are you having? I mean, are you enjoying your time in London, especially in North London?
Yeah, it's, it's great to have nice weather today, so yeah.
Nice-ish, I would say. Nice-ish.
At least weather. At the moment it's nice.
Yeah. And how are you feeling about the team so far this season?
Brilliant. Yeah, better than, I think fans' expectations, and hopefully we get better and better again.
Brilliant. How many Arsenal fans are there in Japan? Where do we sort of rank in terms of the Premier League? Where are we in the popularity stakes, would you say?
They're conferring.
Who's the biggest team? Who's the biggest
I
team?
think Arsenal.
Oh, wow, okay.
We've only got 200 members, but as a fan base, I think Arsenal is the biggest because, like, the social media followers,
Yeah.
and always, talked about Arsenal in Twitters, and it's always in trend.
And what about Takehiro Tomiyasu, of course? He's a big character in the Arsenal dressing room. He's a great player for us as well. What's it like having a Japanese player playing for us?
Actually, we got more and more members now, and I think people chasing us, our Twitter accounts, because Tommy.
Yeah, Tommy. Well, he doesn't start today. Hopefully, he'll come off the bench at some point. Yeah. But what do you think about the team's prospects today? Sheffield United, they haven't won yet. They're bottom of the league. What's your score prediction?
4-1.
Oh, we like that. 4-1 from one, Mika.
I say 7-0.
7-0, even bigger.
I love it. They go big. Yeah, why not exactly?
I'm up for the 7-0. And you've got, the fans can't see it, but there's a flag behind as well. You'll be flying that in the stadium today, right?
Hopefully, yeah. Everyone's got this.
I got the scarf as well, yeah.
Arsenal's got
Brilliant,
scarf,
yeah.
so hopefully.
How many of you are in today?
30 members plus we've got few gold members, Japanese members, so altogether 33.
Lovely. We'll make some noise. I'm sure if Takehiro Tomiyasu comes on, there'll be some extra noise. Yeah. Well, listen, Mika and Mika, thank you very much. Enjoy today, and hopefully that 7-0 prediction rings true. Yeah,
Right.
I like the
Lovely
sound
to
of that.
see you. Yeah.
Take care. 7-0.
I know.
That'd be nice.
Go bigger, but go home, right? Yeah, I love it.
I'm here for that. Right, we're going to head up to the box in a few moments' time, but we've got the trivia question, Clarke.
Yeah, very good one. It's a good one today.
This is rock hard, if you ask me.
Oh, no, it's easy.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I think it's such a famous moment.
Yeah, but I'm quite old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you said it. Right, the question is then, which Sheffield United player, our opponents today, which Sheffield United player did David Seaman deny with a wonder save in our FA Cup semi-final in 2003? I'm sure many people remember the save, but who was the player who was denied? That is the
Shall
question.
I tell you now? No, that would ruin it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, we're doing it up in the box. And if you're watching this up in the box, we'll be asking you as well, so get your thinking caps on. No Googling. Right, whilst we head up to the box, though, Mikel has been talking to the press ahead of this one, and here's what he had to say.
Let's start with injuries, shall we?
With the positives.
Why not? Partey, first of all.
Yeah.
What's the latest with him? Because the last we heard, he just got injured the day before the Seville game.
He's got a muscle injury, and we expect him to be out for a few weeks. We don't really know still the extent of it, and he has more tests today. But he picked up that injury in training, the last training session, the last kick of the ball before Seville. So, yeah, very unfortunate.
Is it the same injury that he'd previously done?
No, it's something different.
And it happened in the training, but he obviously played 5 minutes for you, didn't he, against City, and then he went and played at Ghana. Do you think that might have contributed?
Well, I don't think so. He was coming from a period of absence, and he needed minutes, and he played with the national team, and we tried to be always in touch with them. And then we have 2 games with Chelsea and Seville very, very close, and we decided not to load him on the first game to play him in Seville. And then that happened in training. So sometimes it's difficult. You try to prevent. If we would get injured against Chelsea or against City, we would have said that we have rushed him, But then you rest him and he gets injured. So it's things that happen in football.
And Gabriel Jesus, because you were quite concerned, him less so. Has he had a scan, and how's his hamstring?
Yeah, again, the scan showed that there is a muscle injury, and we might lose him for a few weeks again.
So maybe sort of after the next international break we'll see him, or?
With Gavi, I cannot give you any time frames because he always surprises us. But there is something there. He felt in a really awkward action, and it's true that he had quite a lot of load in the last few weeks with the national team, and then playing those games, which he hasn't done in a long, long time. And yeah, that's really bad news for us.
We've spoken a lot this season about how you're in a much better place in terms of personnel and in your mind about trusting others.
Yeah.
So being able to rotate maybe the squad without those players, or looking at these next 2 games, how much better are you feeling about being able to do that, if you like, and particularly the way that your subs have performed?
Yeah, well, when we had 3 big players, now with Julian, there's a long-term injury with Thomas, with him. One thing is to rotate the squad, and then the other thing is to have the squad available to pick the right players to rotate them in the right moment, because then you are rotating the squad, for the first game, but after the squad needs to carry on playing with the injuries, and this is what we want to avoid. But with the schedule that we have, the amount of games that we have is something that we knew was going to happen. It's happening to every club in the Premier League, so there's no difference.
And in a sense, it's maybe happened a little bit to your captain. Is there an idea that maybe he needs a little bit of rest, recovery? I don't know. He's not having the same influence that he would have had early on in the season. He set the bar obviously quite high, but the last few games he looked a little bit tired on Tuesday night.
We discussed that to get to the level that they perform and our front players last season. That's just very, very difficult to see. Well, it hasn't happened in the Premier League. So we need to be conscious of that. But that's about form, about as well putting him in better positions and doing things better in certain areas to help him to have the game that obviously helps him to exploit his qualities. And they have played as well a lot of minutes. And that's a consequence to that.
And just finally from me, because we're also speaking to Declan today, you've talked a lot about how surprised at how well he's gone. Does 100 million or so look quite cheap now? And how good has he looked in, particularly second half when you really needed him, or in the games when you've really needed him to dig deep? How impressed have you been? He's
been terrific for us, and I think he has really perform at the highest level, especially on big games, and that's when you want to see your big players, and he has a step out there, and his contribution in these games has been really, really important. So really pleased.
Hi, Mikel. Good afternoon. Chelsea and Sheffield United are 2 very different teams, but in terms of the performance, what's the biggest area of improvement you would like to see as a collective compared to your most recent Premier League game?
Against Chelsea? Especially the way we started the first 15-20 minutes, especially the way we lost momentum by losing certain very, very key duels, and that changed the shift of and momentum of the game. And then for other periods, continue to do a lot of the good things that we do, but all the time seek to be better, to play better, to be more dominant, and as well to be more efficient, especially in the final third.
Will you remove their defeat against Newcastle? Sheffield managed to really challenge most of their opposition so far. What do you expect for them tomorrow?
The same, looking at the way they have played against all the top teams, and how much they have suffered to beat them, all of them. Some of them scoring the 100th minute, some others really scoring late goals and being really tricky games. So we expect the same. They are fighting for their lives, like we want to win every single game, and it will be a tricky game.
When you look at the way you started the season, you're still unbeaten in the league. What satisfies you the most?
Probably the consistency that we are showing, playing every 3 days in different competitions and maintaining a high level, but as well showing that that is not enough for us, that we want more, that we want to play better, that we want to do things and give no chance to the opponent, and keep developing as a team.
Do you feel like comparing to the last season, there's not only more quality in the squad, but significantly more depth?
There is more depth. Obviously, it would depend on the injuries that we picked and where we have that depth, because obviously having injuries in certain line is going to affect you in a way where you don't have the right replacement. But so far we are coping with it. Everybody feels really connected, and everybody feels that they've got a chance, and that's a really positive thing to have in the squad.
Thank you.
Hi, Mikel. How are you?
Very good.
Tomorrow's game, how do you guard against complacency? Because Sheffield United have yet to win a game this season. You're unbeaten, flying high. So how do you guard against complacency?
Since yesterday, everybody on their toes. Everybody on their toes. Since they walk in that door, they know what is coming. They know what to expect, and I was very clear with them.
In terms of player injuries, as you rightly said just before, a lot of clubs have got them. Player welfare has been spoken about. The number of games you're playing this season compared to last is vastly increased. Is that behind it, or is there something else?
No, I think there are periods, and sometimes you get really unlucky, and sometimes there are things that are difficult to prevent. When you are loading players more, and players that they haven't done it in the past, obviously that risk increases, and we try to manage every single thing to control it, but there are things that are difficult to do, and you have to accept that.
Yeah, so there we have it, the thoughts of the gaffer then, and we've made our way to the My Arsenal Awards box for what was quite a civilised welcome, I thought. I thought it was going to be more, you know...
We're just playing it cool. Nice jumper.
Yeah, nice jumper, mate. Like, who's modelling it better? Come on. They didn't want to answer. It's the new clobber that's come out this week, of course. There's lots of people out the front, in front of the Armoury, wearing it.
I think more people are going to buy it because we're wearing it today.
Yes, we are influencers. I think it's fair to say.
Might be.
Right, the trivia question. We need to deal with that before we get our first guest into the box, who's already here, actually. So the question was, did anyone in here know it, by the way? I don't know if you heard. Right, yeah, pack it in. Right, which Sheffield United player did David Seaman deny with a wonder save in our FA Cup semi-final in 2003?
Paul Pesca-Salido. I almost forgot how to say it there. Paul Pesca-Salido, yeah. Married to Karen Brady.
He's got all the
bit of knowledge.
Yeah, the pop trivia.
Yeah, bonus point for that.
I love that. Right, we get our first guest on, I think. Let's not waste any more time because our first guest is primed and ready. A defender who made 43 appearances for the club between 2008 and 2010. It's Mikel Silvestre, everybody. Good to see you. Just jump in the middle. Good to see you.
Hi guys, how are you doing?
Yeah, lovely to have you back at the Emirates as well.
Thank you.
How often do you get down here?
Not enough, I must say. But it's always a pleasure, to be here, to be back, to enjoy good game of football, good quality football, and especially right now, it's a good time to be here.
Yeah, and an Arsenal win, I'm hearing as well today.
Yeah, what do you make of this current team then? Where would you sort of place them? Because we've had a lot of good teams over the last 20, 30 years. We had some dips, but this one's coming up. This has got a lot of potential, right?
Absolutely. I think it's a team in the making. They just need to win a title to get on a run. I think they have obviously the confidence have been growing over last season and this season. I think the win against City was meaningful for everyone, and I think there is a very positive dynamic at the moment. So it's just wait and see, but I think there will be a title at the end of the season.
Wow, that would be very nice. Yeah. While we got you, obviously, as a defender that plays centre back or full back, would you have enjoyed playing the sort of inverted full back, dropping into central midfield? Would you have fancied a bit?
I would have loved it, honestly, because up to the age of 17, 18, I was playing in midfield as a box to box type of player, and going forward. As you can see, also in my career, I enjoyed doing it. So it would have been a pleasure to play in that position.
What about your countryman at the back? We've got to ask you about William Saliba. He's settled into life really, really well here at Arsenal, since he got in anyway, because at the start we almost lost him. There was rumours about him leaving. Thankfully, he didn't go. What have you made of his start here?
Well, a great start. I think, it was kind of difficult because at the beginning, he was sent back home, so it's a big setback for any player to have that kind of treatment. But overall, I think he showed great confidence and ability at the back. And the time he was injured last season was when the team started dropping points, so credit to his performances.
Yeah, well, we love him here, don't we? I mean, we all think he's the next sort of Virgil van Dijk. I mean, we're putting him up there among the world's best. How is he perceived in France? Do you see him as being that good too?
There is a lot of competition for places, especially for national team in that position. We are blessed to have so many centre-backs with Konate at Liverpool, Upamecano. And it's difficult for William to break through the national team, but I think his time will come. I think he's probably the youngest of them all, and if Arsenal win trophies, that will give him even more chance with national team.
How good must France be if he can't get in their team? It's unbelievable.
Right, Mikel, before we let you go, because I know you're a busy man, with all our guests, we're creating a leaderboard.
Right.
What time do you think the first goal is going to go in this game? Not just for us, just the first goal.
I think it will be early. I think within the first 10 minutes.
So what minute?
8.
Eighth minute.
Yes.
Yeah? You like the sound of that?
If it's Arsenal.
Well, let's hear it for Mikel Sylvestre, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, Saliba not getting in the French national team.
Yeah, I mean, he's a phenomenal defender, isn't he? I think he should be in that team already, shouldn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I'd put him in if I was the gaffer, but I mean, I've got no qualifications, so chances of me being a manager are incredibly low. Right, now, October, of course, is Black History Month here in the UK, and this is our dedicated Black History Month fixture, actually. So you might have seen a really nice article on the website where we hear from key voices within the Arsenal family, and we can welcome one of those to the show now. It's Dr. Clive Nwonka. It's a revolving door. Good to see you, Dr. Clive. Very smart. I feel incredibly underdressed now.
Overdressed myself now, so.
Looking lovely. So just tell us about the article and why you've done it, and a little bit about yourself, if you could.
Sure. Well, I'm an academic. I work at University College London, and I've been exploring the connection between Arsenal and the black community, both in London, in the UK, and globally, for around 6 or 7 years. So I'm currently co-authoring a book called Black Arsenal that comes out in 2024, and it explores all the different facets of Arsenal's connection, either through terrace culture, fan bases, music, fashion, ex-players, all kinds of things as well. So it was through those conversations with the club I got asked to edit the programme today.
That's brilliant. Yeah, I was reading some of the quotes from you in the programme and online. You were talking about integration as well as sort of representation, and that, you know, when you come to a game here at Emirates Stadium, it is pretty diverse. Which is special, isn't it?
It is, and it's something I don't think is replicated in any other club in the UK, but possibly globally as well. So often we have multicultural clubs and stadia and fan bases, but integration is a completely different thing. And what I've always recognised with Arsenal is the fan base is always integrated. There's always an appreciation of different cultures, which often isn't seen in other clubs.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Yeah. So this book, when do you say it comes out?
It comes out August 2024.
Yeah,
we've just finished it now, so it's done bits like, okay, it's done. You can't change it.
I mean, we've had so many brilliant players, you know, black players that have represented the club. It's just, the list just goes on and on and on, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, we've got a couple who are about to join us here now, actually. We've got legendary midfielder Paul Davis and imposing central defender Chris White in the building as well.
How are you, mate?
Good to see you.
Good to see you, mate. You're right.
Now, I don't know how we're going to do this because we've kind of got one mic. So if you guys kind of jump in the middle and crowd round that mic, maybe we could do something here. Paul, I wanted to ask you about your time at the club. Favourite memories that spring to mind?
Oh, wow, there's so many. I suppose always with my debut when I was 17 against Spurs. That would be one of them. And then 89, those of you old enough to remember that, up at Liverpool.
Yeah.
We beat them 2-0. That was fantastic. Yeah, a round of applause for that. Those who can remember. No, so many. I mean, it's such a iconic club to be a part of and to have played so many games for this club. It's only when I finished playing that I actually recognised what I did. And I'm so proud, and I think as well, you're talking about the black community. I think it's only when I stopped playing that I realised the effect that we had on the black community, and I'm so proud of that situation.
Yeah, you guys were trailblazers, really, weren't you? Oh yeah, I don't need it, do I, Chris? I'm going to hand it to you, Chris. What are your memories of you know, because you're one of the first black players to represent the club.
Yeah, I'm really fortunate, living virtually 400, 500 yards from the stadium, and I didn't know how it was going to turn out. When I got spotted and got invited for evening training 2 nights a week, I didn't know where it was going to go to. And through hard work, dedication, I guess professionalism, it took me where, you know, into the first team. Really fortunate and proud to have, you know, come and play for the club.
Yeah, and you know, if you look at the club now and the amount of amazing black players, one of which is wearing the armband today, it must make all of you incredibly proud to see an Arsenal academy product in Bukayo Saka not only out on the pitch, but he's the captain today. So what a moment that is for him.
Absolutely. I mean, I didn't realise he was captain today. So that's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. I mean, people like Bukayo, it's brilliant for us to see those guys come through the youth and playing such a major part in this club and in football, and the way that they handle themselves. I think they're a credit to their families and a credit to the Arsenal Football Club. So, from our point of view, as players, black players that came to the club in the 70s and 80s, it's a proud moment for us to see those guys sort of take it on a bit further. And as Clyde said early on, Arsenal's been one of the trailblazers in that sense, in terms of accepting that there's black players that are out there that are good enough to play in the team, and the fan base has reflected that, I think. And I think the club is leading the way in this area of society. Yeah. And long may that continue. Yeah. Well, listen, let's hear it for our guests. Amazing. Good luck with the book as well, guys. I'm sure you won't need it. And there's another book there as well. We're just full of books. Let's one more round of applause. Off you go, guys. Well done. Nice one. Cheers. Cheers. Yeah, we'll get the mic out there as well. So if you guys want to jump in with any questions, the microphone's floating around now. So feel free to stick your hand up and grab it.
Good start to the show.
Yeah, I mean, it was a revolving door of people, and we managed to do it with one microphone. Which you tried to hog.
I did. I don't know. It's an old habit, isn't it? Yeah. What can you say?
Right, let's turn our attention to football matters, actually. And we played Sevilla on Tuesday. Probably our toughest game in the Champions League group stage, I would say.
Well, on paper, it was,
Sevilla away. But we got the victory.
Yeah, and it was a deserved victory, wasn't it? I mean, I thought it was really good. I was impressed with the performance. I thought that it was going to be tricky. The atmosphere is, it's a real tough place to go. But what a goal this was. You just catch the turn there from Gabriel Jesus. He'd been through one-on-one already, hadn't he, Gabriel Martinelli, and he missed the chance. And second time around, it was absolutely brilliant.
Because that could get in your head, can't it?
This is, for me, this is one of the goals of the season.
Lovely.
You ain't going to see a better turn and pass than that. That's just outstanding. It's outstanding. And he's got a lot of time to think about it. But he made the right decision, Martinelli, and this wasn't far off, was it? From Gabriel Jesus. He's on the wing. Didn't really seem like there's much on, and then just drops the shoulder and bang. For me, I know that the fans, I think, voted for Tomiyasu as the man of the match. On the radio, I was speaking to someone from TalkSport earlier. They said that the co-commentator gave the man of the match to Declan Rice. He was very good, but for me, Gabriel Jesus was just sensational in the game. I just thought he was the star of the show, and we saw that with the 2 goals for sure. So yeah, it was a good night's work, wasn't it? And we had to dig in a little bit. Obviously, after they got this goal, we talked about on the show, didn't we? We talked about their threat from set pieces. They sort of exploited a little bit of a gap in our setup. It didn't seem right that I think it was Jesus that was marking the player that scored. But we dug in, and I never really felt like we were going to throw the game away. So great job. And now I looked at it. We've got them here. Lons, I think, go to PSV, or I think they go to PSV. Yeah. If we win and Lons win, we're through. So we can actually qualify with 2 games left to spare, which would be lovely.
Yeah, and it just goes to show you the group stages of the Champions League. You know what I mean? You can bounce from kind of the bottom to the top with just one victory.
Well, look at Newcastle. They're all talking about Newcastle winning the group, and now they've got to fight to stay in it because they've lost 1 game. So every game is a pressure game, and it will be a pressure game here against Sevilla, who aren't a bad team as we saw. But I'm confident. I'm always confident here at Emirates Stadium that we can win matches, and hopefully I think if we beat Sevilla here, we will 100% go through, even if it's not on the night.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, interesting, Kyrgios starting today, so it's sort of, I think one of the debates after the game was, are we now going to see Tomiyasu as left back in the big tough games, and Zinchenko when we're playing against a low block today, and now we're not seeing him. But, when we need his creativity. But Tomiyasu was so solid in that game against a tough winger.
Oh, yeah. No, he was really good. He was really, really good. I think that the fans were kind of right to praise him, definitely, and I just think he earned the place. He's earned the place through real solid performances, Tomiyasu. There are a lot of people, I think, that now perceive Tomiyasu as the first choice left back. I don't know whether the manager's completely sold on that yet, but today we will see Zinchenko there with Vieira on the inside. I think today's the day for Zinchenko. But what Zinni's got to do, he's got to kind of remind the manager what a good defender he can be, because he needs to feel he can trust him in those tough games. And at the moment, I think there's a little element of doubt there, which is why Tommy got the nod, certainly in Seville.
Yeah, always good to hear from our audience. And of course, if you want to be in the audience here in the My Arsenal Rewards box, there's a code that you're going to see on the screen right now. You can enter that code into the portal, and if you get drawn, you can be here.
I swear there's more points this week than last week. It's fluctuating.
Maybe it is. It changes. That's what I'm hearing.
Points.
I'm hearing it changing. Clarke's thinking about entering at this point. You know what I mean? Right. So yeah, it'd be good to get you here in the studio. So make sure you enter that code into the portal, and maybe you can join us for a show in the future. Right. We should take stock and remind ourselves what's happening in the Premier League, though, because it's easy to get carried away when the Champions League's on, and you can forget. Right, this is how the table looks at the moment. Just ignore the team at the top for now. I can't imagine they're going to last that long, but we have to grin and bear it for the time being. But yeah, we're in third position at the moment on 21 points, level, of course, with Manchester City, Liverpool on 20, just behind us in fourth, Aston Villa on 19. So it's incredibly tight at the top.
It's really tight. Yeah, I just think that we should be really pleased with the unbeaten start. I think it's widely accepted that we haven't been at our very best. Part of that, I think, is the teams that are coming up against us are showing us even more respect than before. They've worked out the way that, especially with Zinchenko coming in field, they worked out that we love to just slice through teams down that middle of the pitch, and they're just stopping it, which means we're having to go wide a lot more and a lot earlier than we did last season. But yeah, I think we should be pleased with the start. These are the fixtures. Now look, obviously today's today. None of us here would anticipate anything less than 3 points. You never know, but I'm looking at that list and I'm thinking, well, Newcastle away is real tough, but definitely winnable because we won there last year. They lost the other day at home to Dortmund. They're not a perfect team. You've got Burnley at home, Brentford away, Wolves at home, Luton away. I think there's a really good chance we can get to mid-December unbeaten. And I think that has to be the aim. I think actually I would go as far as to say if we don't get to mid-December unbeaten, it will be a real disappointment now because we've had some tough fixtures, but that run there, I think we can pick up a lot of points. Yeah. So I'm quite excited. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of nods as they're looking back at me. So
yeah, I mean, the table after that run of fixtures there, the table could look completely different because obviously other teams around us, they've got harder fixtures. They've got to play each other. I know Spurs haven't lost in the league yet, but I can't imagine that's going to last.
They look good. Look, Spurs look good, but I'm confident we can finish above them at the end of the season. I think it's City, the team to beat. Liverpool will be probably the closest challengers. But yeah, I'm looking at definite top three, and then what can we do? What can we achieve? I think we're capable of winning the title, but it needs Manchester City to have a few more slip-ups, doesn't it?
Yeah, and you made a point actually just when you were talking then about some people are saying we haven't really got going yet, yet we're still undefeated in the league, which tells you just how good and how much potential this team's got.
And think about the drop points, right? Especially here, the Fulham one. I mean, it's so annoying, wasn't it? Yeah. Just so annoying because obviously we gift them a goal within a minute. Loose pass from Saka, which is obviously a collector's item, and then we're chasing it, aren't we? The Spurs game. Yeah. I mean, we battered them, didn't we? Here in the first half, they played well in the second half, but we had Jesus missed a really good chance beneath us here, didn't he? And Jorginho gets caught in possession for that second goal. I think we probably should have won those games. We should be probably the ones sat on top of the division without really hitting the heights. So I think that bodes really well.
Yeah, and what's nice about today actually is it'll be interesting to see. We spoke about this when we played Brentford in the Carabao Cup. It'd be nice to see who's knocking on the door. The likes of Emile Smith-Rowe, where his performance is at against the Premier League first team, albeit, they're the team that are struggling in the league. Yeah. It's just nice to know who's there. Yeah,
well, when you play in the Champions League, you can't go the same 11 every week. You just can't do it. It's impossible. So you need people like Emil and Kai Havertz and players that are coming in and out like Tomiyasu, Kiwior, you need them, Eddie Nketiah, you need them to be sharp. Every time they're in, they've got to be at it. And today is a great opportunity because we're going to have loads of the ball. And I think that someone like Smith Rowe and Havertz have a platform to go out and really have a bit of fun today. I mean, it's a slight risk putting two different players in those positions against a team that are going to be very defensive. So they're going to have to work really, really hard to find space. But that's their job. You know, they're just got to find a way. Because you think, well, when you play against these teams, you need a bit of cohesion, you need clever movement to undo them. Well, when you change the team like we have, it's harder to find that cohesiveness, Nick. So that's my only concern, putting those two in at once. But the platform's there for them to go out and shine, isn't it?
Yeah. Right, Teo, you got the mic. We were going to talk to you later, but, come in now.
Well, I'll just ask a little question now. I mean, you were talking just then about the combinations, Adrian, and as an ex-player yourself, I mean, how difficult is it when you change that much, and does it make that much difference between home and away, basically? Because we do have... I'm more nervous in these kind of fixtures at home than I would be, say, against Sheffield United away. So
it's weird, isn't it?
It's bizarre,
It is weird.
Totally get what you're saying.
I think there's just that onus on us to just pile bodies forward, push the extra men forward at home, because we just want to go and entertain the crowd and score goals, score over and over and over again, which has left us exposed. One thing I will say, and I've got a name drop here because I met Trossard on Thursday, and I asked him about that. I said, this season, it looks like we're a little bit less gung-ho, a little bit less wild, where we're getting in front and then maybe putting the brakes on and we're not going crazy. A little bit, Man City, we were measured, weren't we? And he said that is something they have talked about. So I think the game management side of it is something we needed to do better, and we are. In terms of the partnerships, it isn't easy, because I think last year we saw it. Like, they were just doing it in their sleep, the players, because the same players were playing every time. The movements were so natural, they were quick, and it's just obvious that if someone's dipping in and out of the team once every 4 weeks, they're not going to be quite as confident about the positions they're going to take up. It might have to take the extra touch here and there because they're a little bit rusty. So, I don't expect us to I don't know, bamboozle them at the outset of the game. But I think the longer it goes on today, hopefully we'll find that rhythm and have some fun, score some goals.
Teo, you're obviously from the Tuesday Club podcast. What have you guys made made of our start of the season?
Well, I mean, we haven't been on air so much this year, but we've got a very active...
Busy on Tuesdays because of the Champions League, you see.
Very active WhatsApp group with a lot of discussion going on, and of course, one of our members works with you every week, Ian Stone, on another show. I mean, you've talked about it. You talked about we've had more control, so it's been less fun, but we've had less rickets in us. I say that having, you mentioned about Jorginho and the silly goal here against Fulham, and there's always a game later on in the season where I want those points back, and I'm already feeling that about the Fulham one kind of thing. So control without excitement, as much excitement I should say, but we've got the points, and that's kind of how we felt about it. There's a lot of patience, surprisingly, with some of the characters on our podcast with the slow start that, say, Havertz has made. But I'm confident that he will be a real asset to this team this season. There is always a worry about goals at the moment. I just want to make sure that we've got enough goals. I'm hoping that we can get to January without it being an issue. That's not to say that we're definitely going to do something, but there's the expectation, hopefully, that we will. And that's my only thing really with this season, is that you got Jesus. We saw what he could do when he starts. He's incredible. But there's just that, for his own injury worries and so on, we haven't had that run for him. We haven't had that super hot streak yet that I think constant run in the team and sparking and a few goals would spark. So we when he had a run in the team before, of course, he was on a bit of a drought, wasn't he, when he had that? But it's going to ignite with him, but we do need to, kind of keep him fit. And then the only other thing that we've talked about, I guess, is the the age profile of the starters in midfield and the luck with injuries. I'm talking about Thomas Partey and trying to find a combination when he's not there. But there's not a lot to be unhappy about for a bunch of middle-aged men who try and find something to complain about most of the time. Everyone's pretty happy.
That's why you've not been on air, clearly.
No, we want to see Partey and Rice, don't we? I want to see that more, but we, for one reason or not another, we haven't. I'm sure we will. I just think in those real big games, that's quite a formidable unit.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure it'll happen.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Right, we should get into the number then, Clarke. It's a good one today. I like this one. Our number is the number 10.
Yes, this is the latest in a top flight season that an unbeaten team has ever faced a winless team for a century. I mean, which is just crazy, really. So, we're unbeaten. Sheffield United are winless. It's not happened in the last 100 years that we're into this. I think it happened, I think it was Cardiff and Fulham. I mean, I wasn't around for it back then. But
I didn't think you were.
Yeah, I think Cardiff were involved, but so we just got to make sure that we remain unbeaten and they remain winless for the next game. But it just goes to show that they've really struggled, obviously, to make that adaptation to the Premier League.
Yeah, it's not easy. What do we expect from this Sheffield United team?
Yeah, it's I don't know, because in a way they've been built on 3-5-2. That's their formation for years and years and years, and they've not got enough centre backs to play that formation at the moment, which is just bizarre. They've got so many injuries. I think 12 senior players are injured, a lot of them defenders. So they're going to go to a back four, we think, today, which is just new to them. They played it against Man United, and that was the first time in years, really, and they'll do it again today. So that'll be interesting. But they're going to be hard work. It's the old usual, isn't it? They're going to work hard, they're going to block up spaces, and they're going to go quite long at times, no doubt about that. They're not going to have very much of the ball. We've got some stats for you. Everyone thinks we're going to win 5-0 today, okay? Spurs only beat them with 2 goals in injury time.
Yeah.
Man City took until the 88th minute to get the winning goal. Man United struggled against them last weekend to beat them 2-1. So I've looked at those 3 games because they're the best gauge, really, of what the style of game it'll be today. In those games, Sheffield United only had 29.3% possession. So I think that tells you we're going to have a lot of the ball today. But look at the long passes. That's second only to Luton in terms of the number of passes that they'll go long. So they'll boom it down the channels. They'll look to turn our centre-backs when... and go spring defence into attack really, really quickly. We've just got to be patient and make sure we undo them.
Yeah, we'll get into specifics in a bit when it comes to danger men and stuff like that. But is that what you expect their game plan to be? Boom it up and
not
try
boom it, because they haven't got the big man. They've got a big guy called Ollie McBurney, if you remember him from the last time they were in the Prem. Yeah. He's injured, so I think they've got Ryan Brewster. You remember Ryan Brewster? He was a bit of a wonder kid, wasn't he, at Liverpool? It sort of didn't really happen for him, but he's had a lot of injuries. We saw him here, didn't we? Do you remember?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
Is he an Arsenal fan?
They all are, mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He might be. We saw him outside. We saw him outside at the game, didn't we? I was like, that's Ryan Brewster. What's he doing here? So,
I spoke to Devante Cole yesterday for my radio show.
Oh, okay.
Andy Cole, so he's an Arsenal fan. He told me.
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah.
I say it on an Arsenal channel. It's fine.
But he's quite quick. So they've got a player called Slimane who don't really know much about. So it's a little bit of an unknown quantity of them in attack. But they're not going to boom it high necessarily. But Ollie Norwood is like the guy in the middle. He's like a playmaker who loves a diagonal. They'll use the width of the pitch. But they're not going to have much of the ball. But when they do have the ball, maybe that's when we'll be at our most dangerous. We've got to win it back and produce those quick transitions while they're out of position.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to ask you. That's them. So for us, is it a case of attack you see today?
You got to move. Yeah, you got to make the pitch seem massive to them. So I expect the wide players to really hug the touch lines, to create room in those middle pockets for Havertz and for Emile Smith-Rowe, and maybe for Rice to stride through down the middle of the pitch. They're going to want to just make it solid down the middle. So they'll push us wide, and then it's up to us to obviously make things happen. There's a lot rest on Saka and Martinelli's shoulders today. And for Eddie, and we're going to get to Eddie a little bit later on, closer to kickoff, but Eddie's movement's got to be good. We can't have him just standing there waiting for the ball. Not that he does, But in a game like this, you've got to just take the defenders for a walk. Just take them somewhere they don't want to go, because then it opens up a space for somebody else. That's the way to break these teams down.
Yeah, I mean, we've mentioned it a few times already today, but again, we mentioned it on Tuesday. If you are Eddie, if you are Emil, if you are Jakub Kivior, coming into the side at home against Sheffield United, team bottom, team struggling for goals, all the rest of it, this is the game you want to come in
It's
for.
perfect, especially if you go one up early doors, because then you can really sort of relax, can't you? But we don't really chase it. I mean, some of the games we've had against so-called minnows last year and this year, we've gone behind, and then it's all become a bit panicky. And then you don't want the players that are a little bit rusty to be the ones out there on the pitch, particularly. So it's all about the start. And I was looking at it on the train down today. I was thinking, right, it's that first 15 minutes. We haven't scored yet. We haven't scored in the first 15 minutes this season. We've let in a couple of goals. We're 0-2 up until the quarter of an hour mark. So luckily, Sheffield United, I was looking at them, they've been slow starters. Up until half an hour, they're 5-0 down. So they haven't scored in the first 30 minutes of a game so far this season. So hopefully I haven't just jinxed it and they score after 2 minutes.
Absolute classic, if you have. Well, Mikel Silvestre had, was it 8? For the first goal?
Yeah, well, it'll be our first goal in the first 15. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah. I expect us to pepper them with shots in this game. That's what I think.
The goalie's quite good, actually, Wes Froderingham. He's a decent keeper. Well, yeah, let's have a look at some of the numbers. Let's start with us. Okay, Teo was mentioning about the game management and how we're a little bit more sensible, a bit more boring, but a bit more sensible. We have given not very many shots away, not many at all. Our keepers have not been busy. We've gifted some goals, we've made some bad mistakes, but in general, we've kept teams at arm's length. City are way in front of us, but we're way in front of the next team, so we are tight. Sheffield United are the opposite. As I've outlined, they don't have a lot of the ball, but they're also not very good at keeping teams at bay. So yeah, I expect us to have 20 plus shots, maybe getting up towards 30 shots today. And if you have that amount of efforts, you should be scoring at least 3 goals, shouldn't you? Really? So let's hope that's the way it pans out. You just don't know in the Premier League. You don't know.
Well, Mika from Arsenal Japan went 7-0, so you never know.
Yeah,
you know?
Come all this way. Yeah, that's what you're looking for, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you want to come in?
No, I'll just hand you the mic. Sorry,
just holding the mic. All right, fair enough. Right, let's get our next set of guests on then. Now's the perfect time. Dave Seeger and poorly drawn Arsenal. They've linked up to. Oh, there we go. There we go. That makes sense. Perfect. Right, Dave, talk to me then about the book.
Well, we've had 2 books already. There is a third. Jacob, poorly drawn Arsenal, who everybody knows, and myself, who less people know.
Good to see you.
We have a book out called From Double Double to Invincible, which is a sequel
Brilliant name, isn't it?
Which is a sequel to Arsenal's Double Double, which told the story of the first 2 doubles. This is obviously the story of the Invincible season.
Hasn't it technically got a longer name than that? Right. When I was reading it,
Continues adventures of Arsene in his magic hat.
Yes.
That's because it's a Dr. Zeus rhyming couplets, and Jacob drew Arsene with the Dr. Zeus Cat in the Hat style. So, but also we used to sing, obviously, Arsene Wenger's magic. He wears a magic hat.
Yes, of course.
But we're lucky. We're very fortunate. We're doing a signing. The club have obviously stocked a lot of the book, and we're doing a signing in the Armoury after the game. And Invincible Jeremy Aliadier is joining us to sign a few books.
He's suited and booted today as well, Jez.
Is he? Have you seen him already?
Yeah, he's in the director's box.
He's looking very smart today.
He never wears a suit as well, so it's a special occasion.
We are honoured.
Yeah,
you really are. And you're from overseas, aren't you, Jacob?
Yeah, I'm American.
Yeah.
As you probably tell from my accent. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you managed to get over.
This is my first time since 2009, so it's been about a year or 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually think he was. I know William Gallas scored a goal. It was the FA Cup match against Hull City.
Okay.
So it's been a bit. Yeah.
It's been a long time.
A lot has changed.
We owe you a performance.
Since 2009.
Yeah, I've been walking around London and being like, wow, this is very, very different. So, yeah.
Well, one thing you might notice is the sort of the atmosphere, the connection between the supporters. I mean, it's been phenomenal, hasn't it? And I think it's a good time. It's a good time to bring out books like this because it feels like the supporters are so more connected now with the club and the team than they have been for many years.
I also think, Adrian, there's I'm not going to stretch this too far and predict the future, but there are huge similarities between this team and the Invincibles team.
Yeah.
Not in the just never say die attitude, the collective spirit, the camaraderie of the players. And it's just that I don't think we're going to get beaten attitude, which you see. And we haven't seen that for years. So you feel it as a fan.
Yeah.
You feel this team is unlikely to get beaten.
Yeah, and it's just strange how that manifests itself. It's just getting a group of people that like each other, I think.
Yeah.
Having a manager that galvanises that as well and plays on that. We saw it in the documentary, didn't we? The way that he operates behind the scenes.
I loved it.
It creates that family atmosphere, doesn't it? And I think that's hugely important.
Yeah. We need to get a time for the first goal from each of you, so you can join our leaderboard.
Just the time, or how it will happen?
Just the time.
That makes sense. Yeah. Let's do the 56th minute.
56 minutes, so goalless first half.
How depressing. I'm going for 3.
3
3 minutes.
The third minute. We like that.
I like it. So the book's out. The book's out.
Book is already out, but we did a big launch in New York.
Yeah,
with Arsenal New York Sports Club, which was amazing. But this is the official Arsenal launch.
And the fans in America, they love it, don't they?
Unbelievable. We're doing one in Philadelphia in December.
Yeah, well, David Hillier was
David's coming out, flying out with me.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
Where's our invite, eh?
No, it's outrageous, but it's fine. But he's really looking forward to it, and it just goes to show that you could put on an event in the States, and you know that people are going to show up for it, and it's going to be
honestly
big.
being in this bar O'Hanlon's in New York was like being in the stadium.
Yeah,
it was just crazy, the atmosphere.
Love it. Well, good luck with it.
And when the goal went in against Man City, wow,
eruption. I bet, yeah. Well, listen, good luck with the book. I'm sure you guys won't need it. Thank you for being part of the show. You're with us throughout anyway, so hopefully we'll hear more from you at half time. Right, we need to check in with our commentary team now. Actually, calling the game for us today, Dan Roebuck, of course, and alongside Dan is Nigel Winterburn. Afternoon, fellas.
Good afternoon, one and all. Yeah, looking forward to this one. It's going to be interesting, isn't it, off the back of the narrow success in midweek in the Champions League, Nigel, and of course the draw against Chelsea in the Premier League last time out. And with that lot down the road winning last night, there's a little bit of pressure on us maybe against the side that obviously we should beat fairly comfortably.
Yeah, I think it was a terrific result in the week. But the flip side of that is with the European game travelling back, and then sometimes you can come out a little bit flat against a team that you're expected to beat comfortably. And I was just listening to Clarke earlier where he was saying for the first 15 minutes, I think this game is going to be so important for Arsenal to put a marker down. Change of team as well. For me, the players that haven't been playing need to give us the marker of where we're going to take this game today.
Yeah, well, listen, fellas, just because we're short on time, we'll leave it there. We'll be back with you in a few minutes, though, because we are 8 minutes away from kickoff here at Emirates. So we need to get a key man from you, Clarke.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Eddie Nketiah, I think, because the pressure's on him a little bit. We're home to the bottom side. He's in for Gabriel Jesus. Here's a few of his stats for the season so far. He scored a couple. The conversion rate, you probably, as a striker, you want it to be probably double that. To be a top marksman in the Premier League, so hopefully today can improve on it again. Minutes per goal, I suppose your aim is to be around 120, 150 for the real top strikers. He could get there. Today could be a great day for him to boost his numbers potentially. I wanted to include the pass success rate there because I think that's what he does brilliantly. And he's done that. He's doing it so much better now than he used to.
Definitely.
He's backing into players. I think he's grown into his sort of body in a way. He's a man now, isn't he? And I think he can do what Jesus does and knock players around. And the ball comes into him, you know it's going to stick. And that is really, really important on a day like today, especially where you're going to receive, hopefully, a lot of passes into your feet, where you're going to have runners coming off of you, and you need him to be pretty sure about the decision making that he produces when those players are around him. So, yeah, we know that Jesus is brilliant at it. I think Eddie is getting there. But today is a day where I don't think the Sheffield United centre-backs will enjoy playing against Eddie if he's at it today. I really don't, because they're not the most mobile. I think if he's nice and slippery and he holds it up nicely for midfield runners, it'll be the platform for a good win.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember when Gabriel Jesus came back from the World Cup injured. He was around helping Eddie, trying to teach him kind of some of those ways and things that he does. So it's definitely, Eddie's definitely modelling some of what he does on him. Right, Arsenal in the tunnel, so now's a
wow.
good time to get a stat trick from you, I think,
Stat trick,
Clarke.
straight to stat
Yeah.
trick. Wow, we're absolutely flying. Look, we're unbeaten. This is, again, we don't want to jinx things, but no, I'm sorry, guys, but we are unbeaten in 36 Premier League home games against newly promoted sides.
I don't want to hear it.
I know, you have to go back to 2010. Some of you weren't even born in 2010 that are in this room, I don't think. So that's crazy. Sheffield United have won 2 of their 32 Premier League away games in London, so they don't like coming to the capital. No team has scored an equalising goal, so this is interesting. No team scored an equalising goal in more different Premier League games this season than Sheffield United. So when they go behind, they've actually got a bit of character. And I quite like them in the Championship. They're a good team. You've got this guy, Gustavo Hamer, I was going to talk about being their danger man. 11 goals, 10 assists last year. He's someone to keep your eye on. He can smack them from long distance. They're not a terrible team. They're not. I know the league table will suggest it, but they're not. And they are capable of frustrating us today. Hopefully, we'll get that fast start, get ourselves in front, and then we won't look back.
Yeah, well, speaking of frustration, we have to look at the Breakdown Live Fantasy Premier League trio.
Here we go, look at this.
That's shocking. What is that?
I didn't even know we had over 400 people in
I
it.
have forgotten for 4 weeks in a row to update my team, and this is where we're at. So
I'm not having that. I'm not having that.
Estepinion's still in my team. So.
The leader, Mark Dorrell, I think it is, Havertzing disaster. Unbelievable. He's around, I think it's 1,106th in the world.
I've got the stat.
Yeah, in the world. So we've got some serious players.
We can catch him.
Yeah, maybe.
Right, thank you very much, Clarke. We'll leave it there for the time being. If you are watching us on YouTube, remember you can continue with our commentary on Arsenal.com. We'll be back at half time, of course, but the game here at Emirates Stadium about to get underway. Arsenal against Sheffield United, and calling it for you, Nigel Winterburn. But first, it's Dan Roebuck.
Many thanks to Adrian and to Nick and to all of the gang up in the box. This is an important one. Might not look like it on paper, but Sheffield United, as Adrian has pointed out, have been perhaps better than the fact that they are yet to win in the Premier League this season with 8 defeats from their 9 matches. Arsenal know that they have to take the blade seriously. Mikel Arteta will not be complacent, and hopefully he will get that through to an interesting starting lineup today from an Arsenal point of view. Nigel, this might not be easy for us this afternoon.
No, I feel it's really dependent on how we start this game again. We've got some changes. Just talked about coming back from a European game. You got the travel, a great result. Everyone's coming expecting, 3-0, let's say. But if we give any encouragement to Sheffield United, they will take it. Massive game today.
Huge game for the Gunners, big game for Sheffield United as well, as we mentioned, and is well known they're yet to win in the Premier League so far this season. Only Sheffield United and Bournemouth yet to get a win on the board. For Arsenal, with Spurs, of course, winning last night, Arsenal need to keep on to the coattails of Ange Postecoglou's side. 5 points the difference between the two sides, of course, heading into the Saturday games. Manchester City, of course, play tomorrow in a London Manchester derby against Manchester United, while Liverpool also in action tomorrow. Likewise, Aston Villa, it is getting fairly tight at the top, of course, in a Premier League title race that could involve 5 teams. Well, we shall see as the season goes on. Well, ahead of kick-off today, we will be pausing to remember Sir Bobby Charlton, the 1966 World Cup winner and one of the greatest footballers in English history. And also we remember today the former Everton chairman Bill Kenwright, who is also remembered at the Emirates Stadium this afternoon.
Please join us in a moment's applause, which will start and stop on the referee's whistle, to mark the contribution both have made to the game.
25 times Bobby Charlton played against Arsenal in his career, scoring 3 goals, a couple at Highbury, 1 in a fairly raucous 5-4 success for Manchester United in the 50s.